Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Quick Lane, located at Gresham Ford. Life is better in the Quick Lane, now serving all makes and models, foreign and domestic. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hello, I'm Monica Weitzel, your host for tonight's episode of Community Hotline. This weekly MetroEast program strives to bring you information about organizations that help us all to live better lives. Our first guest is the nonprofit Impact Northwest. Their primary mission involves battling poverty and helping people find ways to prosper with the help of community. Tonight, we'll hear about one of their programs to help youth find and keep sustainable employment. And then we'll find out about the Portland Underground Graduate School, also known as PUGS. If you've always loved learning but didn't want to go into more debt to continue your education, please check this out. It's a whole new way to learn, and it might be just right for you. We have good information for you on tonight's program, so stick around. It's all coming up next on Community Hotline. Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to start out tonight talking with Impact Northwest, an organization that's been around for a long time, but has grown to serve a lot of people in the community. And tonight we're going to start out talking with Carolyn Snipes, who is the career coach at Impact Northwest. Thanks for being here, Carolyn.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be at the station.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad. So I interviewed the executive director from Impact Northwest years ago, and at that time you had one location on about 101st and Burnside, is that about right?
Yep.
Yes, which is where you're located, correct? But you've grown and now have 5 locations, I believe.
Yeah,
so
quite a bit.
Tell me a little bit about how Impact Northwest started and what the mission is, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So Impact Northwest began in 1966. They started as just a small organization, as you mentioned, one location. We're up to between 4 and 5 right now. We're off of Sandy. We're over at Brentwood, Darlington. So we're kind of all over the place, just in different communities.
It's all in the Portland metro area,
all Portland
right?
metro, yeah. We're working with different places throughout the community so that we can keep our reach in different locations throughout Portland as well. But those are our main locations right now. So
I know that when I first became aware of it, there was a lot of, most of the work was with getting people out of poverty or helping them to get out of poverty and to thrive. There was also some work with domestic violence, and I'm not sure what all you have expanded into now. So Can you give me a little idea of some of the other programs you have?
Definitely. So we have seniors program, we have a homeless program as you mentioned, helping with housing and energy assistance. We have a veterans program, and then amongst all of our other ones, we also have the core program, which is the one that I'm a part of, which is the Career Opportunities Readiness Exploration Program.
So careers opportunity readiness
Exploration.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is a fairly new program, is it not? Yeah.
Yeah. We're really new. We're still building up our clientele and our staff, but we mostly work with youth 18 to 24. Okay. That's kind of we call them opportunity youth. So they're youth that are like without the school setting.
They're out of school,
exactly.
Whether or not they've graduated or not.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we help them with things like getting their GED if they didn't get it, helping them find schooling if they didn't find the right place to go, helping them with finding jobs, just all kinds of things.
So tell me, Carolyn, when somebody comes to you, how do they find out about your program, and how do they get to you? Did they get referred by somebody else, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the referral process is pretty simple. If someone from the school district is really interested in our program or has heard about us, I actually worked with the school district, so a lot of times they'll contact me and be like, hey, I have a student, I'm not sure if they would fit the criteria, so we set up like an eligibility session where we sit down and we talk about like what their goals are, where they feel like they're gonna end up. We work with the 4 sector bridges, as I mentioned, so healthcare, tech, manufacturing, construction.
All
and
the
if they're
areas,
interested,
those are
if they're
good areas.
Yeah.
That, people are hiring in those areas, and there's a lot of jobs. There's just a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
But I've heard that a lot of those areas don't have enough employees, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And they pay really well, which is always a really good selling point.
Well,
for
you want a
people.
living wage job, right?
Yeah.
You want a job that you can actually live on. So that's not always easy to find if a person doesn't have any extra schooling or extra credentials. So, but it's not necessary to go to a 4-year college anymore. So, if they want to say, I decide I want to be, I don't know, I want to be in healthcare services, but I really don't have any idea what I want to do. It just sounds like a good place to be.
Yeah.
Are you able to help me figure out like courses to take, or are there certain programs that you suggest? How does that work?
Yeah, so with each sector that I mentioned, we have a program that offers classes, and so they'll take the classes. So for instance, if you were going to do healthcare, we go through Health Careers Northwest. And Health Careers Northwest teaches you about the different parts of healthcare, and then when you're ready to talk about your specific, they'll help you go into clinicals, they'll help you get, so if you want to do nursing, they'll help you get your CNA 1. And they'll walk you through that process.
Okay, so the first part would really be exposing them to different areas.
Exactly.
So if they didn't really have a clue, then that might help them decide which path they want to go down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how does Impact Northwest support those students through this whole career process?
Yeah. So what's awesome about the program that I teach, which is career coaching, is that we work with the person in all aspects of their life. So if they need help with their car, we have a transportation grant. If they need help with housing, we have a housing in-house where they can get help with like PGE, they can get help with Northwest Natural. So basically we make sure that when they're working, they're covered. They've got childcare. They've got a safe way to get to work.
All the things that prevent people from actually going to school or getting a job.
Yeah, the barriers.
Or keeping a job or staying in school, actually.
Yeah. Any barriers they feel they have, like legal stuff, anything, we work with them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You brought a couple pictures of some students, and I'd love to take a look at them because they look like a happy group of kids.
Yeah.
And you said 18 to 24 is your
Yep.
your target.
18 to 24 is our main age group. We do work with in-school high school youth, usually towards the end of their high school career. Some of the pictures I brought were from Jobs 101 class. My students will go and they'll volunteer at the different organizations throughout the community. This one is at the Oregon Food Bank. And so these students will earn half a credit through their high school and $50 stipend for completing the class. And so some of these students will end up being my clients later down the line if they're like, I'm not sure if I want to go to college. I'm not sure if I'm ready for a job. What kinds of things can you offer? And this was at one of our Solve cleanups. This is another high school. This is Franklin High School. Some of my students from there when I was teaching Jobs 101. And again, a lot of these students will come to me after they've graduated and are just kind of unsure about what they want to do.
So you're working with them when they're still in school?
Yeah, to start, part of our programming is Jobs 101, and that programming is in school, and then a lot of those students will get referred afterward, or they'll self-refer, and they'll just be like, hey, Carolyn, I remember working with you. Is there any way we can continue doing that.
I bet you get some pretty loyal people.
I do.
Because they
Yeah.
like working with you, and it's like you make them feel comfortable. And
yeah, that's my hope always.
Yeah. Well, it's tough, I think, for kids to, if they, especially if they're low income or in a situation where they don't have the funds to go on to school, or they don't have a car to get there, and they're not on the max line, or there's barriers, or they have children.
Yep.
Because
definitely
kids have kids.
Yeah.
That it'd be tough sometimes to figure out a way out of that, a way forward. And being able to have somebody they trust and that they can work with, that can help them with all that would be huge.
Yeah, we always try to say we're an advocate first. We're here to help you. We're here to advocate for you. We're here to see you succeed, because that's the the name of our program is Career Opportunities, and we want to provide those.
So what do you see as success for a student? How do you define that?
Yeah, so I think success is continuing on with their education, if that's their goal, continuing to find equitable and high wage jobs. So I think seeing success is them completing one of the bridge courses, which is the tech healthcare, completing that and going on to find an amazing job, or finishing that and deciding, this isn't for me. I want to try something else. So I think success is different.
Allow them to make that change. It's like they say in college that most kids, change their major like 6 times in the first year, the time they're there. So, you don't always have to stay with what you started out in.
Yeah, and we find a lot that people want to bounce around and they want to kind of look at the different things that they can, and because we offer those options, I think that's really where people find the draw.
God knows, I've been in lots of different little careers, and that's not a bad thing, because you learn from all of them. So
absolutely,
that's good.
Yeah.
So you also are involved in going to job fairs and things like that, right?
Yes.
There's an opportunity job fair coming, or youth job fair coming up. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that's going to be at the Oregon Convention Center. My position is directly connected with work systems, and so it's with work systems and Gateway to College as well. Yeah, so we're going to have it at the Convention Center. It's open to any youth 18 to 24. I think they also extended out to 26 as well. So 18 to 26 age range, and they can come out. There's on-site hiring. There's really great food. There's a DJ.
All fun extras there.
Yeah, so they get to come and they check out the different jobs, bring their resume, work on their resume. There's all kinds of booths. There's people like me who are career coaches that can get you enrolled in programming. So it's really great. It's going to be from 9 to 2 at the Convention Center.
And that's on April 19th.
Yep, April 19th.
Okay, that sounds great. And I'm familiar with Gateway to College too. That's a great organization. Okay, so what would your advice be to somebody who's in high school and they're getting ready to graduate? How do you encourage them to explore their options?
Yeah. So we always want people to come in. If they have come in and they've spent their time to come in and talk to us, that's really important. So we'll sit them down and they can just say, hey, I'm about to graduate. I'm really not sure what I'm doing. I'm, coming from a background of low education, or coming from a background where my family they just hit the ground running, and I want to take a little more time with my career. Is that something you can help me with? So I think that's what we have people come to us for, is just to talk about whatever's going on.
Well, it's a stressful time for kids. I mean, just knowing that I'm going to be an adult now.
Exactly.
And I have to, a lot of times that means you can't stay at home anymore, or you're expected to contribute to the family income, or whatever.
Yeah, and we also offer things like leadership development, financial literacy. So we talk to people about.
I mean, leadership, I think, is always a great thing to help kids develop those skills, or to help anybody develop those skills.
Definitely.
But financial stewardship, that's big.
That's
something they should be offering in school, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, same with the financial. We really try to stress,
that's what I mean,
you're getting a job, what are you going to do with your money?
Because you can get a great job. And
exactly.
Look at the people who win the lottery.
Yeah,
what happens to them,
absolutely. Yeah. So knowing where to budget, if you want to get an apartment, anything like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so 18 to 24 is your target area, and it's
Yeah.
all of the greater Portland area.
Yeah, so Portland area, Multnomah County primarily, but we can work with people outside of that as well. So
Okay. If they have a question, they can.
Yeah.
Is it better to call first or just show up? Or?
Just show up. You know, you can call us. My information is on our website. It's on the business cards. It's on our flyers.
And it should be on the screen as
yeah,
well. So,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So you can call me. You can text me. You can email me. Just say, hey, Carolyn, I saw you. I'm ready.
So this hasn't been a program for that long. So
Yeah.
do you even have any statistics yet on success for your
Yes,
organization?
we do actually. We've been running the Next Gen program, so the career coordination program, for about a year and a half now or so. So we've had quite a big influx. We've had about 100 clients come through that we're still working with, that we've exited, that we've seen success with. So yeah. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
So when you say by success, have you gotten them jobs or just had them get into the schooling or whatever?
No one exits with us until they're ready. So until
Okay.
someone says to us, hey, I'm ready to be exited, I'm ready, I've got a job, I've got a house, I've got everything I've wanted, that's when
Wow.
they're exited. If they're not ready to be exited,
That's a lot.
see, you're
That's
with
a lot.
us. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We
That's kind of
definitely
amazing.
commit.
That's
Yeah.
kind of amazing. Tell me about, I don't know how much you know about some of the other programs.
Yeah.
Yours is at if people want to get into that, they
Yeah.
see you at the location on like 101st and
Yeah.
Merced. What's it called? Dancing
Tree.
Dancing Tree,
Yeah.
Dancing
It's a
Tree.
very colorful yellow building.
Yeah.
You'll recognize it immediately.
Yeah.
The front part of it
right
is
on the Max line.
Yeah, it's right on
Right
the Max
there.
line, which is really accessible.
Couldn't be more convenient.
Yeah, exactly. And we have the front part be a day center, and then the back part is where all the offices are.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So if, say, a senior citizen wanted to find out about what is available to them,
Yeah.
do you know anything about the programs that they
Yeah,
have?
mildly. So we interact mostly, my program and my specific job, we interact mostly with the housing and the coordinators for those programs. But the seniors program is also a really long-standing, very established program. And so usually those referrals don't come down to me because I don't work with that age
I didn't
group.
think you worked
But
with them, but I figured maybe you know something about
Yeah,
it. But
yeah. So definitely the seniors we interact with at points, but it's mostly if someone is like, hey, my grandma's really struggling too. Do you think I could bring her in and we could get her set up? People bring their family all the time. That's how a lot of our recruitment happens. Is someone's like, hey, this person is really interested too. So
my cousin's moving.
yeah. So it's great. We get a lot of people referring for us.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's been a long time since 1966.
it has.
Is that 52 years, I think?
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
yeah, it has. So if people are interested in getting involved, I know they can go to the website. What if somebody wants to help support? Maybe I got a little extra money, and I think this is a really good program,
Definitely.
and I take donations, I assume.
Yeah,
You
we
have
do.
fundraisers as well.
Yeah, we have fundraisers. We just recently had our luncheon, which was really awesome, very successful.
Good.
But we do have a development team that's fairly new, but they're great for working for fundraising, for different opportunities. I also go out to recruitment events and kind of put my word out there,
Yeah.
talk about impact. So, yeah.
One last question,
Please.
volunteers.
Yes.
Do you use very many volunteers through Impact North?
Yes, so we do and we don't. So we use volunteers so we have this program called WEXI, and it's an internship program. So a lot of times people will come and intern with us if people are doing social work or if they're interested in, just seeing,
okay.
How that works.
Yeah.
We also have students that come and volunteer with our manufacturing program. So we have volunteers from time to time, but it just really depends on what the program need is.
What about for fundraisers? Do you,
Yeah, always.
Because that's usually
Definitely.
where you need people to
Yeah.
check them in or take their money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of our events are super open and welcome to volunteers,
good.
especially so they can see our organization.
Wonderful. Well, we're out of time, Carolyn, but I really appreciate you giving us information about the core program, and I think that you seem like a very welcoming person, that most
thank
people are
you.
really going to want to work with you. So
Yeah.
I'd encourage you that could use your help to check it out.
Wonderful.
So,
Thanks so much for having
You're
me. I
very
appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this first segment of Community Hotline. If you know somebody that might benefit from this program, do go on the website, check it out, make an appointment to see Carolyn. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Community Hotline.
Hotline is made possible with generous support by Quick Lane, located at Gresham Ford. Life is better in the Quick Lane. Now serving all makes and models, foreign and domestic. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hi, I'm Greg Matthews, retired fire chief for the city of Gresham. I've been volunteering in the East County community for over 30 years, and I would encourage you to do the same. Want some ideas for how to get involved? Watch Community Hotline every Wednesday at 7 p.m., where you can learn about nonprofits working to make our world a better place. Tune in to Community Hotline every Wednesday at 7 p.m. See you then.
Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have with us tonight Steph Routh, who is the Dean of the Portland Underground Grad School. Great name, I love that. Thanks for being here, Steph.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Well, so the Portland Underground Grad School, obviously, is the name is sort of compelling because the underground makes it sound like, ooh,
Right.
sort of a...
Like clandestine.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
Like,
you're
should I be here?
like you're having classes in little, hideaway places sometime, It's
which is not untrue.
Not untrue.
We don't have a permanent space,
That's right,
so we have fallen on the kindness of many groups in town throughout the region to host our workshops and courses.
Well, I think that kind of makes it more interesting, perhaps. I don't know. So tell me, how did this school start, and what was the impetus behind it?
No, that's a great, and I want to say I'm really excited to come to be here in Gresham and with you, and also right after Carolyn from Impact Northwest, who has been our fiscal sponsor.
Isn't that funny? That was, I went to your website and I thought,
wait a minute.
how interesting is that? Yeah.
It's because everything is connected.
Yes,
because
it is.
It's the region, so yes, everyone is connected, and just as they have done, really worked on identifying opportunities and what are some of the less traditional pathways to building community and to building success and just to building economic advantage for communities going forward in a dynamic world. I feel like Portland Underground Grad School was founded by a wonderful guy named Douglas Tsoi 4 years ago. And he started it literally in his living room. He was a criminal or a corporate lawyer and wanted to talk about criminal justice. And so he got a number of his friends together and said, I want to teach a course on criminal justice. Who wants to learn about it? And a number of people did. And at the end of it, he's like, would you want to learn more about different things? And one thing he quickly discovered, and I think which we can all intuit, is the idea that learning needs to be lifelong, we have pathways in our formative years, but after a certain age, those opportunities really fall off. And so
you have to search them out.
Exactly.
Really,
And so PUGS is really Portland Underground Grad School. We do
But
not do
PUGS.
animal care unless someone wants to do a course on animal care.
But PUGS is your acronym. So,
PUGS is the acronym. So PUGS is an opportunity for people to kind of opt into pure curiosity. And we talk about how we're half learning and half community. So people coming together, learning from each other, learning about each other, and building networks through a common sense of inquiry.
So this obviously is not a online class school,
We have
or is
one
it?
online class currently, but they
Because
all
you can
have
build community
in-person.
that way too. But I got the feeling in looking at the website that a lot of the community building comes from the face-to-face, in person.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this gentleman decided that he wanted to teach this class, and if other people were interested in learning more, then they're going to explore that. But he didn't want to do it in the traditional sense. So these classes, they're not credit classes as far as school goes. They're just for people that want to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
it-
and it can be any number. Like this morning, this afternoon, I came directly from a 3-hour workshop on managing creative projects in a way that doesn't make you lose your mind.
It was just great. It was a great title.
It was
'Cause,
fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and I was looking through some of the courses that you've had before and some of the ones that are coming up, and they are very diverse.
Yes.
Very diverse. So how do you come up with the classes, or who makes those decisions as to what classes are going to be offered?
Oh, that's a great question. And in fact, oftentimes it comes back to please percolate this question, because I would love you to help ideate what we should be teaching. What would, Monica,
Yes.
what would you like to learn?
What would you like to learn about? Well, I was looking at some of the classes, and there were some that would appeal to me from a career standpoint. There's some leadership classes, some project management, or things that have to do with time management and that kind of thing. Those are always good, whether you've taken some or not, to have a different viewpoint or a different way to do things. But there's other classes that just sound fun. Like they're things you've always wondered about. Like sometimes I'll be reading the news and I'll read about some religion I've never heard of that I think, I'd like to find out more about that. And you can Google stuff, but that doesn't really. That only touches the surface. It'd be interesting to learn about other people's religions and from their own viewpoint. Just I'm not a particularly religious person, but I find it fascinating and how it affects people's lives. Or learning about different cultures. And getting people together from. We have a bunch of people over here that have just moved over here. We have a big community of people from Bhutan, and I know nothing about Bhutan. So share some, maybe they could share some of their food as well as their stories, or while somebody's actually teaching me maybe about the geology or geography rather, and the economy and other important facts about that country.
And it's something that might not have been in your core class load, in high school or in college or beyond, but that.
Well, geography, for one thing, was something that was really lacking in my school, and I remember realizing that when I got into college, it's like, boy, I don't know a lot of this stuff I should know. Or sometimes the democratic process, the way our court systems work, our judicial systems work. Sometimes it's like, there's so many different parts of it. Yes, you learn the basics in high school, but I don't know, things change, and there's new Supreme Court decisions. There's so much to learn about it that it's, those are just things that I might be interested in, but everybody else might want to learn how to knit. I don't know.
No, okay. So in June, we are doing a mass incarceration in Oregon course that is being co-led.
Mass incarceration.
Mass incarceration, the racial justice issue of our time.
Oh, okay.
And particularly how it is coalesced in Oregon. It is being co-taught by someone who was in the prison system for 19 years.
Wow.
And so just coming from what is that process, what is that history, what are we going to do about it, how do we guide our future, and how do we be residents in this state, and how do we better understand our judicial system. Another one actually we're talking about is decoding knitting patterns. So basically we have a couple of my favorites that I am not a mother, but there was last month, and there will be again, I believe in May, a course on meaning of motherhood, and it's taught by someone who has a background in philosophy. And the idea of what is what is our relationship to motherhood? And when I was asking her, like, who is this for?
Yeah,
Like,
who's
who
your
would
target
want?
audience
Yeah,
here?
and she was like, well, maybe it's for mothers who don't know how they feel about babies. And I'm like, yes, because we don't.
Yeah.
Like, what do we know about? There's
no class for
preconceived notions, exactly.
Yeah, no class for
there might be like how to go into labor, but like the
Yeah.
day after, you're kind of on your own. And what does this mean? And so I just think like there's this fantastic understanding of the inquiry that exists all around us. Another one is called Improv for Transformation. It's just like basically how to we live in routines and also like we live in a world, and you might disagree, but like oftentimes it demands of us that we say no to things. And so how do we create a culture within ourselves where we can say yes?
You know, those kind of classes, I can see opening up people to a lot of discussion.
Yes.
And that's where probably a lot of the learning comes in.
Yep.
Right.
And that is why people go for drinks afterwards.
That's great. That's perfect. Because then you're making a connection. Because if people are really sharing, because I mean, if you're going to talk about something like motherhood, where somebody might not be a mom, but they had a mom, you know, there's a relationship there with motherhood, they're going to want to be sharing probably some personal stuff that really you can build some bonds and at least feel a connection. And if you feel that connection, then go out afterwards and have something to eat, have a drink, whatever.
Exactly.
That's great.
And those are the bonds that stick.
Yeah.
You know, and can I just say, in terms of bonds, like Pugs exists within, and I didn't appreciate this. I've been the dean for a whopping 3 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But and it's really opened me up to all of the other ways that people learn and how emergent this is. And just like MetroEast, like you were saying a little earlier, that this is a space where people learn.
Right. We have volunteers on this show that have taken our classes, and that they're learning on the set how to run the cameras, how to do the audio, that kind of thing.
That's exactly
And it's and learning from each other. That's a good thing that there's different ways, because not everybody learns the same way. But and if you're learning for your own enjoyment too, and your own just personal edification, well, yeah, there should it should be fun. It should be entertaining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that we're almost having a meta interview, and that like we're talking about learning within a learning context.
Yeah. Yes. It's perfect. It's perfect.
And another where we have been fiscally sponsored by Impact Northwest, which does an incredible amount of learning opportunities. We also have a close partnership with Wayfinding Academy in North Portland that is accredited, and they work on a holistic approach to an associate's degree, and really looking at what is your path in a world. You were talking earlier about like the tech and the health and different vocational pathways that are changing so quickly. How can we know which skills we need today for 5 years down the road?
Right. It may all change.
Exactly.
Yeah. I took shorthand in high school, for goodness sakes.
I wish I had.
So. Well, I never used it. I never used it once. Never.
I was an opera theater double major, so
But here you are on TV.
But here we are.
Yes. There's also a social justice aspect to this whole endeavor, isn't there?
Yes.
I mean, besides the fact that Impact Northwest was your fiscal sponsor, but well, talk to me about your pricing. We can't say prices on the air because we're non-commercial, but what is it they called it? It was
radical pricing.
Radical
policy.
pricing
Yeah,
policy.
and that was core to what Douglas wanted to create, and I just think it's brilliant that that we do not all have the same capacity to pay.
Right.
I mean, and so people with different capacities, and it's all on the honor system. Like if you make less than $15 amount an hour, then you should not pay. You are not necessarily able to pay, and you should not be made to pay for something the same as someone who makes more than $30 an hour, and that's just a kind of a small infusion of equity.
Well, yeah, that it allows other people, it allows more people to take the classes that they're interested in taking, that they want to benefit from, that will ultimately benefit society anyway. But, you know, if people can't afford to take them, then...
Exactly. And when you think of
it's very
already
exclusive.
people have, I was looking earlier today that Americans own more than $1.5 trillion of debt, student loan debt currently.
It's outrageous.
Right, and people change their careers anywhere, you know, depending on who you ask, and like there's, like how do you quantify it? But anywhere from 3 to 12 times people change their careers. And
I can vouch for that. I'm hoping this is my last one, but yeah, I've, you know, owned my own business, worked for a nonprofit, worked for a huge corporation, worked for a small company, you know, which I loved most all of them because they were, you know, they all brought something different to my life, and I was able to contribute something different. But some of those jobs, you know, I probably wouldn't do again. But there's you know, there's a lot of other things I want to learn about, and you know, some of that could be career exploration.
Can I ask, in between, when you were talking about your career changes, how did you, like, did you have new skills that you needed? Like, how did you discern which career choice was going to be
Let's
next?
see. One of them, when I owned my own company, I got a divorce, and I had owned it with my husband. So we, you know, we divorced, and he kept the company. But my very first job was at a major utility, and I learned customer service so well. I mean, we had months and months of training, so I learned customer service really well. And I felt like that was the core to doing any job, that if you dealt with the public in any way, shape, or form, it's a customer service job. And so I always kind of went for things that I got to work with the public. One time I took a job because it was more money for a bank where I sat in front of a computer all day, and I was miserable, just miserable. So that was a learning experience for me.
How long did you have that job?
I quit after, I think it was 3 months. I just hated it. It was like more money I'd ever made, and I said, no, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
How did you know what you were going to do next?
I didn't know. I didn't know, but I also knew that I really loved volunteering, and so I started looking into the nonprofit world. But you know, some of them was just trial and error. You know, some of them was like, okay, this sounds like it'd be, you know, interesting job, and I know that I have good customer service skills, or you know, that I have some HR background, or and so I tried that out and then discovered that no, that just wasn't really for me. So, but you know, if you could take some classes and learn some stuff without having to, you know, take out a huge student loan, that's a great deal.
Yeah,
that's a great deal. Yeah. So have you taken quite a few of the classes so far?
I've taken some, and whenever I can, like right now we have, there are 3 classes, and like I said, I just came from one earlier today, and that's one of the great joys of being the dean, that I get to say, hey, do you mind if I come to your class?
Yeah, they're not going to say no.
Well, I mean, they could, and that would be fine, but like, one justice is doing one on Portland's African American boys, and you know what, and it's a fantastic conversation around, you know, the recent Portland Public School audit on Black student achievement, particularly on push out and suspension, and so, you know, how do we, and I present white, I am white, so you know, how can I be of use in terms of learning about that and holding that, and then what is my responsibility going forward?
So those are important questions, and actually the whole issue of race in Portland is interesting, and another thing I would be interested in is gentrification. You know, how that all happened. I have lived in North and Northeast, which has changed immensely, and I moved there, you know, in the early 80s, which I see a lot of change there. And it's really interesting to learn about those things, and how did it happen, you know, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and you know, planning for communities going forward. You know, it's, there's so much to learn about. That's one thing, you know, that I've noticed is the older I get, the more I want to learn about.
Yes.
The more I want to learn about.
And it feels like the more, I feel like the fewer answers I have, but I get better at asking questions.
There's better questions, and there's But you know, the older you get, the less time you have to learn, and that's why I think, oh, this is such a great opportunity, because these aren't all like a semester-long classes. There are some that are very short, some that are longer. So what is the format of the classes themselves?
That's a good question. Most of them, so we're starting in April, we're going to more like the terms. So I'm working on getting 3 months out. But most classes are either part-day workshops, like 3 to 4 hours. Some are full day, but I'd say most are 4 weeks, 2 hours a week. So Mondays or Wednesdays. Yeah, and it's just like it's almost like a sampler class of what can we learn together in 8 hours, because people have busy lives, and you can't necessarily commit.
I don't want to commit to taking a full term of a whole schedule of classes, but taking a class here and there, that's interesting. So we don't have very much time, so I want to find out.
I keep asking you questions.
I know, so clever. I want to find out about if somebody wants to become involved, they can just go online, right? If they have suggestions for classes, how would they?
Yeah, there's a survey. It's a drop down, and I'm actually working on. You can get on our mailing list.
Okay,
and
I just did that today.
Thank you very much, Monica. I appreciate you. You're going to get an email next week, and I'll be putting out a survey pretty regularly. It's like, do you have a class that you want to take? In that email, like what is the question that is burning in your mind that you want answered?
What if somebody wanted to teach a class?
So good question. In the past, and I have taken it down for the moment, just because it's like, what is that pipeline? People can also email me. It's team@pugspdx.com, and just like, hey, I have this idea, or I know of this person, or this person and I would like to co-facilitate. We just want more people to learn. And
Great.
Yeah.
So we can go to the website, find out information. We can sign up for the newsletter, get more information, and then and go forth and just learn.
Yes.
What else do we need to know before I let you go here?
Oh boy, I'd say those were it, and just like finding different ways to share in learning and build curiosity. I just think that is building that sense of inquiry is the thing that connects us most.
Yeah.
So.
And just become lifelong learners, or continue to be lifelong learners, and then make some new friends in the process.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, sounds good. Building community.
Yep.
Thank you, Steph, so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been really fun.
This has been a lot of fun.
You're going to have to come on after you've been there a year and just give us an update of what's going on. But I'll probably see you at some classes.
And then I'll interview you. I'll just
there you go.
Tell me what you've learned.
Yes, okay, sounds good. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching Community Hotline. I hope you enjoyed yourself, because I know I did. We'll be back here next week. We'll see you then. Good night.
Hotline is made possible with generous support by Quick Lane, located at Gresham Ford. Life is better in the Quick Lane, now serving all makes and models, foreign and domestic. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.